Buckle up, y'all, because people are using haunts and other spooky themed events this Halloween as an excuse to physically hurt scare actors and performers, overly sexualize said performers, expose young children to traumatizing things at way too young of an age for the sake of, you guessed it, content, and being just horribly rude to not just the people doing their jobs, but other patrons there, and picking public fights for the sake of social media clout. That's right, y'all. Things are getting out of hand this year, especially at Horror Nights, and we are here to talk about it. Let's yap about this. Hi, I'm Honey, lover of all things Halloween, especially because my birthday is also in October. I am overprotective of making sure things run smoothly during the month of October because people will use Halloween as an excuse to act out.
How many people are you gonna scare?
1,000,000!
How many people are you gonna scare?
1,000,000!
People are you gonna scare tonight?
2 fucking trillion!
How many people are you gonna scare tonight?
100!
Now listen, I love Halloween, and because of that, I'm always so welcoming whenever new people want to get into like haunts, mazes, just like the whole shebang, okay? But let me tell y'all, this year alone, I've witnessed more people get decked at Universal than I have in like any of my fighting classes that I've taken, which is saying a lot, because your girl can tussle, kind of. I understand, and I want to make this clear. There are some people whose immediate reaction to getting scared is to take a fighting stance or pull a punch. My immediate reaction to getting scared has consisted of going to scare actors, singing Heat of the Moment, and also, as some of you may recall me saying in a previous video, going, sorry, I love you, bye, when getting scared in a haunted house. All weird things, but not things that physically harm another person. I quite literally cannot someone to death. So I understand the people that don't know their fear reaction. This year, more than ever, there are way more people going to haunt, especially like the big ones like Horror Nights, which we're going to touch into the gatekeepiness of regular Horror Night stands. But there are more people than ever going to these events. So I understand if it is your first time ever going to an event where you are purposely being scared. Because for those of y'all that aren't up to speed with what I'm talking about, the whole purpose of Horror Nights and other haunts are basically just huge haunted houses. It is to consistently spook yourself. And at Horror Nights specifically, there is not an easy way to avoid getting scared.
Hi. Oh, okay.
Grab it! Shoot! Other places will have like anti-boo necklaces, stuff like that. Horror Nights, you're walking through scare zones like moment one. So I understand if you have no clue how you react to fear, you go to Horror Nights for the first time, and lo and behold, your reaction to fear is to hit them with the everybody was Kung Fu fighting, but turns out you're the only one Kung Fu fighting, babe. But to know that your reaction to fear, and these are the people I'm talking about, to know that your reaction to fear is to punch, to deck, after the first time you hit someone and you can realize it's going to happen again, or after the second time, you got to get out of there. If you know that you cannot go to an event without physically hurting other people at that event, I'm very sorry to say this, but you should not be at that event. And it's not a matter of being inclusive. It is a matter of protecting the safety of other people. But let me tell y'all, this isn't about the people that are like, oh my god, I did not know I punch when I get scared. I am so sorry. These are about the people that are going up to the scare actors this year and touching them on purpose.
If you are ever touching an actor without their consent, or you grab them or you hit them and you think you're being funny, you will get kicked out. That's just the way it works. You gotta know what you're signing up for. Second of all, we know how to read people, so we're not like purposely trying to make people who are really uncomfortable more uncomfortable. We want everyone to have fun. That's the whole point.
Now, what do I mean when I say touching them on purpose? I mean, alone in my personal experience this year, what I have witnessed firsthand. Not what I've seen on TikTok, not what I've seen on YouTube Shorts, not what I've seen on Instagram Reels at 3 in the morning when I accidentally gaslight myself into thinking I'm on TikTok, but it turns out I've been on Instagram Reels this whole time. No, what I have seen in person, alive and well, alive, is people being in these houses, secretly recording, and then getting the weakest scare ever and going for like a shove. I've seen hits. I've seen full blown bitch slaps this year, y'all. I've seen punches. I saw someone try to kick a fucking stilt walker, which let me tell y'all what we're not about to do, okay? They could step on you like you're a little ant. Bow. And funny enough, these people that keep accidentally hitting these scare actors and then subsequently posting online being like, I accidentally hit a scare actor and they were so mean to me and I got escorted out of the event, are recording while they're doing this. And I'm not saying it's suspicious. I'm just saying I witnessed a grown man be totally fine walking through the scariest house of the year and then watched him whip out his phone in a scare zone. And then the second someone even got within a radius of him, went for like a pow. And then I was like, oh my god, did you guys get that on camera? My brother in Christ. It's Halloween. My brother in Insidious. And I want to make this really clear. This is full-blown a safety thing. I don't mind people that make content at these types of events. I'm kind of all for it. I mean, you'll see how I dress. You'll know I took photos, unless you're new here, in which case, hi. Do you like me yet? If not, what can I do to make you like me? Please. I'm a Libra. What I do have a problem with is people jeopardizing the safety of the employees working. And let me tell y'all, there is fog everywhere. Most of these haunts, not just horror nights, but most of these haunts, the people working already have limited vision because it's nighttime and it's foggy on purpose. But a lot of the time, they are in masks or they are wearing like colored contacts. They can't really see. So if they're about to get decked, they're not really going to know what's going to happen until we're right there. And let me let y'all see some first-hand testimonies, okay?
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. 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 Aw, dang it.
The biggest thing I want to mention in this is that I think that scare actors get, it's a hard job. It's like acting in a movie without cutting. It's 3 hours of constantly being in character, being in extraneous circumstances with flashing lights, strobes, loud noises. I wear earplugs because I can't handle the sound in the area I'm in. And thank God I wear earplugs because I think the biggest thing that is the biggest issue is heckling. If you run ahead of your group, hide to try to scare them, you're not funny. Also, when an actor is doing their job and you get scared, you should not be mad or be aggressive towards the actor. Why do you react negatively towards the actors when they do what you paid for them to do? But if I scare you and you call me a slur or some horrible derogatory term because you're scared, why did you come? If you think you're doing all these things, you are putting the show on hold and ruining the experience for other people. Because especially tonight when I was touched by 3 different guests and I didn't want to be, I had to break character immediately and go get security.
So it's not accidents. And when I talk about other people touching the scare actors, I want to say it's not always just from a physically violent standpoint in the sense that you're thinking. Trigger warning for, I'm sure you can guess what I'm about to say, but trigger warning for unconsensual touching. But a lot of these people, especially in haunts where a lot of the scare actors are wearing a lot more skimpier things, which is fine, it's Halloween. In girl world, Halloween's the one day a year where you can dress like a total slut. Hello? But I'm specifically talking about the people that are videoing themselves grabbing these scare actors without their consent. I'm talking full-blown groping. Like, there is no other way to say it. They are full-blown groping these scare actors and then posting about it, being like, tee, he's so silly. Guys, I like touch the sexy clown's chest. That makes me so... And it's kind of disheartening to see because there is so much over-sexualization of these actors. And it's not like... There's no good way to do sexualization. Let's just say that right there. Like, there's no good way to do it. But there is a difference between a silly little TikTok of like, oh my god, the plague doctor noticed me, and you posting a TikTok, and I'm not gonna show it because I don't want that fucking video to see the light of day ever again. But you posting a TikTok describing in depth all of the things you want this real human being who you are showing the fucking face of, and then listing their place of employment, listing all of the things in graphic detail that you want them to do to you. And then when people are like, hey, this is kind of weird, in the comments saying, well, I write erotica, so this is actually me marketing my next book. By using the face of a real human being who didn't consent and was just doing their job. I am full of whimsy. I am full of whimsy. I do not hate people on the internet. I am not a hater. I am full of whimsy.
Just smell the grass, the dirt, just like I dreamed they'd be.
Now, aside from that, I want to touch on something that a lot of people are using to explain why they are accidentally decking, scare actors, or why they're tripping in a TikTok video and subsequently grabbing someone's rack to stop themselves from falling. But then their past 8 videos are talking about how hot that person is. I know not everyone is justifying it by saying they write erotica. That's just whimsy. A lot of people this year specifically are justifying it by saying that they were obscenely drunk or super high when they film those videos. And even if you are intoxicated, non-sober, you are not accidentally punching someone multiple times. You are not accidentally harassing someone multiple times. Especially when you are in a big group of people and you are consistently posting this. Because I don't know about y'all, but if I accidentally, and I truly mean accidentally, kicked someone, I would not post about it. I would be atoning for my sins. I'd be on my hands and knees begging that person to forgive me, okay? I got anxiety. But for people to be justifying drugs and alcohol and then being like, oh, well, I tend to get a bit rowdy when I drink, then don't drink in public spaces. Or justifying it with, well, I was so drunk and, well, I mean, you saw her outfit, right? Cosplay is not consent, period. And let me tell y'all, haunt workers, it's basically the same as cosplay. Cosplay is not consent. Just because I am wearing booty shorts and little tights that have bats on them, which, it's freaking bats. I love Halloween.
It's freaking bats. I love Halloween.
Just because people dress like this does not make it an open invitation. Common sense. But you would think when you are a guest at a place where people are doing their job, you would not try to justify their work outfits as a reason why you harass them.
Are you putting some sort of nasty spell over me?
What? No, I'm literally just standing here, lady.
But for you to justify being harmful because you did something illegal at a place that is a family-friendly establishment is such an interesting topic. And it's something that's so frequent this year. I wish I could say, like, I doubt some of these people, but this year alone, so many of the lines at Universal have reeked of weed and also poppers. And it's a bit disheartening almost because I'm personally seeing a bunch of people talking about how it's ruining their night. Not because of like, oh, I don't support doing illegal things, but because of people smoking in the handicapped bathrooms. Because of people smoking in these houses where there is flammable objects and you are not supposed to smoke at Universal at all. There are designated places for that to happen on property. You can't just do it wherever you like. It is a safety hazard. It is making other people sick. And that's the thing that's going to be a constant throughout this video. It's almost a lack of self-awareness. A thing of, well, this would make it more enjoyable for me, so because of that, I'm not going to care how this may negatively affect an entire collective. And I'm not talking it negatively affects one or two people. I'm talking it affects a majority. Because there are a lot of people this year having asthma attacks, a lot of people this year getting migraines, a lot of people this year getting secondhand smoke, which is insane, like, to think that there is that much smoke. And a lot of haunts this year are suffering from this. It is not just Horror Nights. It is not an exclusive to just the state of Florida. There's almost like this excessive overrun of like party culture this year. And it's bringing out some weird things. For example, like this year more than ever, I'm seeing like more influencers out in the wild, which I do love seeing a good photo op. Sometimes I see people taking photos and I'm like, okay, you're slaying the world. I love it. I see it. I'm the first person when I see someone trying to prop their phone up to take a photo to volunteer to photo for them. And y'all know I'm getting all the angles. I'm getting down, squatting, I'm jumping mid-air. Y'all know I'm getting the angles for people. But a lot of people are stopping to take these photos inside of haunted houses, which I don't know if y'all know this, but your phone will flash for the most part in dark spaces. So it's kind of disrupting the whole flow for people with these random flashing lights that kind of ruin the whole being in the dark experience. Specifically when you're in the house. If you use flash outside, whatever, we're outside. But also, it's dangerous to be in a darkly lit area and just completely stop in a place you're not supposed to stop to try to take a photo with someone whose whole job is to creep up and scare you. And now the scare zones this year have a lot of ample photo opportunities. That's me, by the way. But a lot of people this year, because there are so many photo opportunities, when they don't get the shot they want, or they are not chosen to be a part of like the gag, the bit, they're not pulled on stage, they're throwing tantrums like toddlers.
Another thing that I have seen and heard of is that there are different types of interactions that are occurring that are actually causing problems to the way that the show is flowing and the way that other guests are able to interact with the Death Eaters. Some of the things that I've heard of are people shoving phones in the actors' faces and getting up way too close in their personal space. Guests actively pushing other guests away in the middle of interactions in order to get their own. Guests following the Death Eaters way too closely in Diagon so that they're not able to do their performance. And guests that are actually forcing interactions on the Death Eaters. People are getting a little bit too aggressive in terms of like the ways that they're trying to initiate interactions with these Death Eaters. So I'm not saying that you can't go and interact with the Death Eaters and initiate your own interaction. However, I am saying that because of like book talk and Death Eater talk being a thing right now, like it seems that people have kind of forgotten how to be respectful and act properly in a park.
They're posting online about how there's bullying from these scare actors and how they totally only choose their friends. Get a better outfit. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of this talk of like, oh, well, I was denied having a good experience because I couldn't take these photos. I couldn't take a photo with this scare actor, so it ruined my whole night. These people's job, first and foremost, is to scare actor. That's the role requirement. There is no scare actor, take photos with people, okay? That's too long of a job title. There are a lot of people, though, this year that are chasing down these actors. And I'm seeing this online happen at Six Flags a lot, too. And I'm seeing a lot of this taking place in the houses at SeaWorld. But there's a lot of like chasing them down and trying to find specific people, like remembering these people's faces to try to get continuous photos of them. And it kind of goes back to the whole like internet hype thing. It gets a bit weirder. So remember how I was saying like there's this huge like party culture. Universal specifically has what I like to call like the war on teenagers. So, as y'all might imagine, Universal Studios, a family friendly theme park, is also still technically family friendly at their after hours event. There are a lot of people that are pushing the boundaries with that. To which I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people bringing like small babbies, not like, oh, 11, 12. I'm talking like 6 months old. But there's an influx of people bringing their kids, and then when their kids get horrified, filming that for content, which I don't even want to talk about the child exploitation. I know, big words of it all. But it's also kind of alarming to see like how we're pushing those boundaries of bringing kids to events that aren't exactly kid friendly. Remember Universal, I mentioned Nightmare Fuel, which is that sexual show. I'm seeing a lot of younger audiences there, and then parents freaking out when they start seeing stripping and then hurriedly rushing out covering their kids' eyes. And there's a reason why Universal says that Horror Nights is a 13 plus event. I know they've kind of like stopped saying that as much lately. But definitely when people bring kids to these events, it's a matter of knowing what your kids are comfortable. And I think if your kids are to an age where they can't tell you whether or not they like being scared because they can't get into a movie theater to watch most horror movies, I don't think your kid should be there. On that note, though, there is an influx of teenagers at Horror Nights this year. And I know it's not specific to Horror Nights, but Horror Nights is where I'm seeing this war of adults versus teens. And I'm going to show y'all a couple of tweets about it. Now, people are pissed off about these teens. They're saying they're rowdy, disruptive. I will say I did witness a fight breakout, and it was oddly like reminiscent of high school. There were people filming, people chanting. Like it was like a car wreck. Like I couldn't look at it, but I couldn't look away. But people are talking about how they don't want to be in line behind teenagers because they're so loud and they're so obnoxious. And why are teenagers even here? Like all they do is hang out with their friends. We were all teenagers once. Some of you watching are still teenagers. When you were a teenager, did you think you were gatekept from most adult spaces? If the answer is yes, do most teenagers accept the fact they are gatekept from most adult spaces, or do they push those boundaries? Because listen, I was 15, 16 going to things like that. And now I'm 22 going to things like that. And I'm not sitting there going like, these darn kids. But it's almost like this big war where people are calling for teenagers to be banned from going to Horror Nights because of how disruptive they are, especially on Friday nights. And it's like, guys, this is an event in the heart of... This is an event in Orlando, near multiple high schools. Obviously, people that are in high school are going to be going on Friday nights. But they're calling for teenagers to be banned, for them to be kicked out, for this whole disruptive era to end. And the thing that people are most commonly saying is that the only reason Horror Nights got this bad, and the only reason like scare actors are getting hurt this year, is because more people know about it, because it's no longer this hidden gem. To which I want to say, and I'm sure like people of the jury, I'm sure y'all realize this, but this is our little gossip sesh, okay? This is where we're still whimsical, but we can be a little bit of haters, a little bit, okay? So between you and me, bestie, I think it's stupid. And the reason why I think it's stupid is because this is an event hosted by one of the biggest theme parks in the world and one of the biggest companies in the world. You've got to think Universal is also, I mean, Jimmy Fallon's the fucking mascot at Universal, okay? You know how terrifying it is that every time I'm like going to horror nights, I have to see his face? I scream a little bit. That's the scariest part, okay? But we're talking Universal Music Group, like the music artists. We're talking Universal Movies, which is why they have rights to a lot of these houses. We are talking this big super company. To think that this huge super company is this small event that no one knows about that you can gatekeep is ridiculous. It's stupid. And I feel bad saying that, but it's dumb to think that one of the biggest and most well-known haunts in the United States of America is going to be small and tiny and not have long waits. It's stupid to think that there's not going to be large crowds, and it's dumb to think that at a family-friendly theme park, you are going to have people that are in families and not just single adults who are ready to mingle. And another thing I want to say, and this stays between us besties, okay? This is personal, okay? Yeah, I've seen some teenagers. But first of all, if you're an adult and a teenager is pissing you off, one, tell an employee. If you think they're being so destructive that it's ruining your night, tell an employee. But also, you are a goddamn adult. Talk to the teenager. They are human beings, okay? I don't know why we are so scared of 14-year-olds this year, guys, okay? You are paying for the fucking lipstick demon from Insidious to jump out at you. And you're just acting like, cool. But a 14-year-old laughs too loud, and suddenly you're too scared to be like, hey, I was wondering if you could keep it down? Okay? Like, if it's that big of a deal that it is completely ruining your night, talk to them. They are human beings. That is not the part that I'm like, we gotta keep between us, though. The part that I think we gotta keep between us is, let me tell y'all, I've had a lot of way too loud people this year. I have had people get a bit too close for comfort, if you get what I'm saying, against my will. I have had people talk about how I look. I have had people completely be disruptive. I have had people full blown run into me to the point I almost fell on the ground. I have had people yell and scream so much, not in the like I'm scared way, but in the this is so but if anyone's scared in houses, and let me tell y'all, were those teenagers? Grown ass adults. Grown ass adults. This whole war on teenagers is so crazy to me because one, we were all teenagers at one point, and two, a majority of the people being disruptive and destructive are the same people calling out teenagers. And it's more so in my thought process, are you mad about how disruptive they are? Or are you mad that you're no longer the funniest person here, bro? I'm just saying, which you were never that funny, but in your head, I know you were. But are you just mad that you're not the funniest person here, bro? Because the amount of adults being destructive this year is insane. When I was in the Insidious house the other day for my birthday, it was the one thing I wanted to do for my birthday. We got fire evacuated out after waiting like 90 minutes at that point, 70, 90, I don't really remember. I had a really fun night, so I try not to remember the bad part about it. But allegedly, the reason why we got evacuated after not even getting to, we were in room 1 of this house, it's a long ass house, after waiting, I think it was 70. I want to say it said 90, but we waited 70 minutes. After waiting 70 minutes was because allegedly someone pulled the fire alarm. And I have seen a lot of weird things this year. I have seen people getting mad at a bar because they were selling alcohol and that went against her religion, which I don't really understand. Because, okay, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. So, Universal, they have like a little Horror Nights bar, And like you kind of have to go out of your way to get to it. It's not like right at the front entrance. It's kind of off to the side, and even with it kind of being like on the walking path, you have to divert off the walking path and kind of walk like in this totally opposite direction to get to the bar. Okay? And also, majority of the drinks can be made non-alcoholic this year. A lot of them are mocktails. But full-blown ranting, raving, screaming at an employee because there's alcohol being served here. And she brought her kids to this event, and now there's drunk adults walking around. Which I will say, if you are drunk to the point you're ruining other people's experience, cut yourself off. It's such a confusing thing this year. Because there are people physically hurting people. People purposefully sexualizing and grabbing people. People acting like they're better than the event. Because when I tell y'all, there are people who are making it their life's mission just to make fun of people getting scared. And I'm a screamer. I am like a horror movie final girl screamer. And it's not on purpose. If I'm not hitting them with the like, I am busting a lung, okay? I could probably break a glass. I'm probably hitting like whistle notes even Ariana Grande hasn't discovered, okay?
Also, when an actor is doing their job and you get scared, you should not be mad or be aggressive towards the actor. Our job as scare actors, we love our job. I can speak for a lot of my friends that work here. We love what we do, but we can't do our job if people don't know what they're getting into first. We are acting out uncomfortable, scary things. If you don't like uncomfortable, scary things, you won't like this. And you should never be mean or aggressive towards the people that are doing what they are trained to do.
This nigga bonding. Look at this nigga bonding. It's like, bro, 6 feet. 6 feet.
But there's no shame in that. There's no shame if y'all get scared. If y'all are the type of people that jumps a bit too much while playing Five Nights at Freddy's, me too. I know all the lore to it. Do I still hide behind my blanket when I play? Yeah. Do I still hide behind my blanket when Markiplier plays? Yeah, I'm watching the screen like this. I got my glasses on and everything. There is nothing wrong with how you react to fear as long as you are not hurting people. What is a bit off-putting is if you are paying this large sum of money to go to an event where the entire point is getting scared and then talking about how not scared you are. Because, and I say this to everyone who wants to go to a haunt for the first time, you will get scared if you want to get scared. It truly is a mindset. So for these people to be jumping and being a little bit scared, but then loudly talking about how it's not scary at all and they should get a full refund, and going to these scare actors and telling them to their face that they're not scary, laughing at them in their face, it's gross. These people are doing a job, and at the very least, if you don't get scared, the least you can do is not humiliate them and tell them they're doing a bad job. Because at the end of the day, these are still people. Like, yes, they are dressed like a psycho killer clown from outer space, but these are real human beings with real human emotions, and sometimes they just want to know they're doing a good job. And honestly, I think that's the common theme for this year, of people acting like they're too good for something, or that they deserve to have the photo op and no one else, or that they deserve to make this good content of their kids getting scared, or this good content of them purposely hurting a scare actor, or that they get to have this super, like, book talk romance with one of the scare actors. So again, real human beings. I want to specify, real human beings. It's entitlement. And if you feel like you are not center stage and you want to be center stage, go to a smaller haunt. Go to a local haunt. I used to work like a local haunted house. Did it have as many people as Universal? No. You know what that means? Shorter wait times, babe. It's a win-win, a more personalized experience. But it's just been a lot this year, especially between, like, hearing people say literal death threats to scare actors when they don't get chosen for a photo op, to adults threatening teenagers, to having to watch two adults almost like straight up do it in a line because they're so drunk. It's become a year of basically like a free-for-all of, well, I can punch people for content, I can do this for content, I can do this for content. It is just a year of entitlement of I am the only person in this space, and because I am the only person in this space, if I don't get my photos, it's bad. Well, if this scare actor doesn't have a crush on me, it's bad. Well, why can't I take my anger out on this worker? That's their job. They're a worker. Stupid. If, and I'm sure y'all know this because otherwise you would be watching my content. Like, you would not be the type of person that connects with me, bestie. But there is never any excuse to be mean to someone that is just doing their job. And to even then throw a bigger fit when you get kicked out by someone else doing their job. That's on you, bro. You cannot go to an event without feeling like it needs to completely center around you, and without feeling like if you are not the center of attention, it is going to completely ruin your night. Then you should not go to events. If you cannot go to an event without thinking all of your desires have to be met, everyone has to be nice to you, you don't have to wait in line like normal people. You're able to hurt whoever you want to hurt. You're able to get whoever you want to get. You should not be allowed in public spaces, okay? You should not be allowed to go to these events until you learn how to interact with others. Because haunts, first and foremost, are personal, okay? I don't care if you are not with anyone and you are there by yourself. There is someone coming in your face to scare you. And there is almost a mutual trust between you and that worker that they are not going to put their hands on you if you are going to a haunt that is non-handsy, and you are not going to put your hands on them. Okay, this was super fun. I'm trying to make like at least one video a week. It's like a little gossip sesh video because I just love these little gossip sesh. They're so much fun. So subscribe if you want to be in more gossip sessions, I guess. And also, hello, gossip back in the comments. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What have you seen? Like, what am I missing? Let's yap about it together. Okay, love you. Bye. Whee! You know, like Five Nights at Freddy's, how they go, whee! Okay, yeah, bye.